All right, so I'm going to begin the process here in the pot. And it's kind of fun because as this cauliflower starts to cook, you get a really cool smell in the house. So I'm going to use some vegetable stock cubes with my butter. It allows me to add some water and not thin it out. These salt cubes are pretty salty. I'm sorry. The cubes are pretty salty, so I am not going to use any salt or pepper in this at all. Whoever is going to eat it can season to their liking. It's not going to be something I do for them. I'm going to make it. It won't be bland by any stretch of the imagination. It won't be bland, but we will keep the ingredients down. I'm going to use in this drawer here some basic from the shelf Italian herbs. They're very fresh. Just bought them. We use a lot of this, so it's all right. I'm gonna dump that in there and mix that in. People disagree. I'm gonna kind of burn those spices to open up the flavor of them. This recipe calls for a bit of lemon, but I'll let people put that in afterwards. I don't want to do that. We'll do it to taste. So cauliflower roasting, butter melting, and I'll chop up an onion real quick. Not that you need a lesson, but I'll give a lesson in chopping an onion the way I do it, preferably with a sharp knife, but at my house, sharp knives are not always guaranteed unless it's one of the, I keep a set of knives put away that nobody uses and they're sharp. But these sit on the counter here and they're very good knives. They just need a quick cut, but I'll pull it off. But the way I like to see an onion cut for this process, you don't want big stringy pieces like a French onion soup. So the smaller the dicing, the better it turns out. So I'm gonna give it as many cuts lengthwise as I can, and then I'm gonna cut it. You hear that dull knife? It's tearing when I cut it. That's all right. For this process, we'll survive. I'm not gonna do hundreds of them. So there is one onion. I'll put another in, but that breaks it up small. That allows it, that'll cook nicely. It won't be something you have to chew. It'll almost disappear. There'll be a few of those in, but there won't be many. There will be chunks of cauliflower. I'll endeavor to leave it. So 2 onions. I've done this and I've used heaps of garlic. Now I like that, but not everybody does. So it's not unusual for me in dishes like this because of the way I like things to use that whole thing. Crush it up, put it in. You don't need to dice or cut these because they're gonna get mixed in the end. So I just smash them and put them in. But it's not unusual for me to use that whole thing. I'm not going to use that today. I'm going to use, what's here, 3 or 4, 5. So, this is the best part of the cooking process where the smell has filled the kitchen. We like that. So this is, people think it's hard to cook. Well, it's not hard. They also think it takes time. And no, it does, it doesn't. So you can spend all day cooking, or you can choose a recipe that allows you to get things done quickly. And this is such a simple recipe. Now, the longer you let it cook, the better it will be. I'm a firm believer in soups get better with age. There was a restaurant in San Francisco years ago. I don't recall the name of it. A friend took me to it. But they advertised, I think then it was like a 22-year-old soup. So they had a pot of soup on the stove that had been kept alive for a couple of decades. And the idea there was, and I can't even remember what kind of soup it was. I don't have a memory of it. A long time ago. But the idea was, they just rebuilt their soup every day. They added to what was existing. So they kept their soup alive, which is not a bad way to do things. You know, add the same sort of ingredients every day, or change the ingredients and change the soup, make it a mystery. What is it today? So there's 4 nice bits of garlic. They don't need anything more than that. When I do garlic, I cut the tops off, then I smash it with my knife. Allows me to skin just falls off. You get these broke up pieces. Smells really good. But it comes out sort of smashed and broken is what it is. It's been crushed, which releases flavor, does good things. So we are now pretty well into the soup being cooked, because I'll stir that like this. That looks good. Smells beautiful. Smells beautiful. Those spices are getting released. I'll put a lid on, heat it up a little bit. I don't want to burn it too much, but a little bit of heat. Actually, heat's good. There's one arm of cooking that believes the heat has to be intense to get the flavors. And I understand that. I don't disagree with it. May not be what I'm going to do today, but I will turn this up. So we have onions, spices, some vegetable stock, and garlic, and butter. The butter is going to give it the creamy texture. So very nice. Lid back on. Take a break, and come back when we're ready to do some mixing. I think you'll remember I've said in the past that I like celery. It gives a really good flavor to things. And I found a little bit in the refrigerator. I was just doing something. I didn't think of it earlier. But I'm going to cut this up and throw it in the pan with the butter and the garlic and the onions. And it'll roast it up, give it a really good flavor. There's not much here, but it will add to this. I will think that it's going to be quite a good addition. And I hadn't thought of it before, but it's going to go. Interesting sort of sidetrack here, sideline. I have leftovers from the weekend. We had a pretty good sized barbecue. So I've got some really good beans, long story behind these, but cooked with lots of energy and love. I've got a big piece of last week's lasagna left over. Tomorrow the rubbish goes out, so Tuesday's a good day to. So if I put those in there, oops, if I put those in there, I'm a firm believer in leftovers. I don't let much go to waste. You got to throw some things away. I'm just going to pinch some salad and stuff from the weekend. I cooked way too much. But I'm going to mix these beans up. Now we've got some lamb chops left over. So I'll bake those. I'll cook this. And I'll call up my buddy Big G. Big G's a bachelor guy. And he's one of the people that really likes what I cook and how I do it. I have a nice story, it makes me very happy. His daughter, who's 10 or 11, was telling her dad once, if you could have whatever you want, I mean, what would you have? If you were hungry and you were gonna have the best thing in the world, what would you have? And the 10 or 11-year-old said, I would have Mike's beans. So that made me very happy. I like my beans. That light behind me is kind of screwing up the contrast, but that's okay. We'll keep going. It hasn't been terribly long since we started this, less than half an hour. But our first tray of cauliflower tray. So what we have, I'll find something to pick this up with. Beautifully roasted, soft, buttery cauliflowers. So I think that looks really good. I think that's going to work out really, really, really well. So nothing more than just herding them into the pot to just add to the mixture. I'll try to do it without making a terrible mess. I got a swap hands. My right hand's better at herding than my left. So that's going to be very nice. That's a nice color. You can tell by the smell that we've raised the happiness level of the cauliflower quite a bit. One done. I might as well take the other one. I'm going to throw these leftover lamb chops in for the kids later. Same process again. Cauliflower in. Beautiful. See, I'm going to take one of these and just have a nibble. Woohoo! Warm. Very nice. Very soft flavor. So this is the sum total of what goes in this pot. There's nothing else. So this is the sort of thing you could do to really impress people. Now, I know in our modern world, people have forgotten what soups are. They think soups are something that come out of a tin. I'll put a lid on that and try to let it build up its own moisture. I'll have that. Okay. So, sum total. Ingredients: 3 cauliflower, 2 onions, 4 cloves of garlic, good sized bit of butter, and some Italian herbs. We'll see what it's like as we go. These things, of course, you can always, after, you can put a dollop of cream in. You can, I'm very partial to balsamic vinegar. Vinegar goes well, but it makes it, gives it, it changes it. Soy sauce, whatever you want. So that's going to sit there and cook for a little bit. And then what I'll do is come and dump some water in, then I'll mush it, and then I'll just let it cook. So we're basically done. The cooking part is almost done. So pretty good recipe, pretty easy. And I think the end result is one of those, if you like to cook and if you like people to be impressed with what you cook, this is a great recipe.